Like a rhinestone cowboy. Bum, bum.
Welcome to the place to be reviews.
Avengers.
Were you expecting someone else? Let's start the show.
You guys are so screwed now!
It is he, it is me, P-double-D-E Tepwakuing from the Place to Be Reviews, right here with all of yous. Fandom Menace Friday Night Live, the Fandom Menace People's Champion right here with you. I've got a great panel right here on the Place to Be Reviews this evening. Good Friday night. Thank you for starting your Fandom Menace Friday night right here with us on the Place to Be Reviews. We've got a great show for you tonight. Two amazing guests, Rogue Entertainment brethren, as they may be. If am I using the right pronouns, because one of them is a female. I don't want to use the wrong pronouns here, or whatever, what you may have it. But let me introduce my co-host with the most, Mr. Tony Tone Deaf.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the owner of the worst channel on YouTube and commander to the legion of deathheads, the world's wokest warrior, primitive-sided, toxic fanboy aligned with the like-minded, Tony Tone Deaf, rocking with you. Fandom Menace Friday Night Live here on the Place to Be Reviews. What's up, everybody in the chat? Everyone on the panel, the pleasure is all mine. I'm looking forward to a great show. It's the weekend. Let's get it cracking.
Thank you, as always, for being here, Tony. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man.
And let me introduce the panel now. First, Miss Jayne Theory.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Jayne. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Go ahead and shout out your channels, right, if you want to right now during your intros. That's absolutely what I want you to do.
Okay, sure. You can find me here on YouTube. I post movie and television reviews and pop culture commentary. You can also follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jayne Theory.
Thank you, Jayne, for joining us. I appreciate it. Tony will be posting yours and scripts links in the chat all night. Hail Parrot Head. Let me introduce, last but certainly not least, making his debut here on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, the Script Doctor, PhD.
Good evening. Thanks so much for having me today. I'm excited to have some fun and some good conversations with you guys.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, when I hit you up on Twitter, I said I wanted to get Script on the channel for a while, because I've watched some of your stuff and I've seen you on other channels. I'm like, I really like your perspective and your insight on things, and make a wonderful addition to the panel. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Jayne as well. I watch Jayne's reviews, and like I said, I dig getting different perspectives and views on shows that I like. So like I said, tonight we're going to be very, very WandaVision centric, as the finale episode premiered late during the night, or in the more early in the morning, as you may have it, wherever you may be. And the finale to the series has been met with mixed reviews. We're going to get into that. Let me acknowledge my chat here. Let's see. Tony Tone Deaf's posted links. We got Parrot Head, Keely Chow, Daisy Divine. Be sure to smack that like button like it burnt the pot roast for me if you can. Sub for sub is here. Oh no. Tony, watch that, would you? I think we might have from the other night, but yeah, so we're on our toes. We're on our toes here tonight, ladies and gents. But yeah, so WandaVision, the finale, and what I did was I just watched this again for like the second time. Normally I'll watch the episode 2 or 3 times when I write my reviews. I watched it this morning with my son, and before him and my wife left for the weekend. Then I sat down, ate dinner, and I watched it again. And like I said, I have mixed feelings on this. What I want to do is I want to go around. I'm going to start with Jayne, and I kind of want to get what your thoughts were on the episode before we really get into dissecting this thing.
My thoughts on this episode, I didn't hate it.
Mhm.
Um, but I do feel it was a very disappointing conclusion to what was an incredibly hyped up series.
Yeah, it did. It kind of like, it's like when you get a meal and it's good, but it just leaves something to be desired.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind that was yeah, that's kind of where
It's like being invited to a crawfish boil and you just get 5 of them.
that's it. You're like, no,
That's
no
it.
more.
That's all.
It's like
Can't have more.
I can't get full on that.
Exactly.
I can't
I
get
saw that it was like seeing a pair of crutches and no patient for it to support.
That's better.
I like that. I like that. Let me shout out the Fandom Menace YouTube channels here. Hail,
know.
hey, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Tony, what or script did you want to expand on that a little more before I toss it over to Tony?
Yeah, it's this series was built up with good advertisement and whatnot, but when it's all said and done, it was all a support for another set of stories. It can't stand on its own as a series. You can't watch it and say, okay, that was good, and not have to watch any of the other Marvel properties around it. This one is very dependent on all the films that came before, and it's trying to bridge and set up something that's going to come in the future, but it does it in a way where it's not independent of itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
you need television shows, you need movies, especially in mid-act movies, to be able to stand alone. And for accurate reference, you want to take a look at something like Star Wars and then subsequently The Empire Strikes Back. You could watch either of those movies in any order you want, and they still hold up as independent movies. You don't need to watch Star Wars to watch and understand The Empire Strikes Back. You don't need to watch The Empire Strikes Back to understand and need to watch Star Wars. And to a lesser extent, Jedi is a bit more dependent, but I mean, they're able to stand on their own as stories, and that's kind of what you need to do, especially in a franchise such as Marvel that has got 23 films and now this official Disney Plus series. Whether they're going to retroactively incorporate Daredevil and Agents of Shield, that is yet to be 100% confirmed. It's been rumored and announced, but again, until it actually airs, it's still not a thing. So yeah, they dropped the ball greatly on this, and much of the show meandered. And while it did have a great deal of amazing Easter eggs and references to the story from the comics in the 80s, it did not stick the landing. The gymnast broke her ankle, so to speak.
I like that. I like that analogy too. Tony, what was your take?
So I wrote on Facebook that the series as a whole, it started off kind of dumb. All right. Yeah, there was some mystery there, some intrigue, but that first week they really didn't give anyone anything to sink their teeth into besides a quick scene with Dottie, who then wasn't seen until like episode 5. So I mean, the show started off kind of dumb, in my opinion, and then it became frustratingly intriguing, picking up on little notes and little plot points and little Easter eggs here and there. And yeah, I mean, the feeling is mutual. I'm here with the consensus. I mean, it was extremely underwhelming. It just kind of, I was watching this a second time. Like, did Patty Jenkins write this? Because I'm watching Scarlet Witch fly through, and it's just reminding me of the end of Wonder Woman 84. Like, what happened? You know, this was so good. Excuse my dogs, but it was so good, and it just kind of puttered out, I guess. They took the safe route.
The dog wanted to opine too.
Yeah, even my dog's pissed. I'm telling you. No, it just kind of I don't know, puttered out. It just wasn't what I was expecting the end to be. And it was confusing too, like with the Vision, you see Spectral Vision fly out the window, and then it switches to red and green Vision coming out of the building. And I mean, I watched it when I was just waking up, but I was thinking somehow like they merged or something. So then I was confused. I'm like, why is he disappearing if his physical form's there? And then the second time I saw, actually flew away to the West Coast or wherever he's going. But yeah, it just when it showed Wanda standing back in front of the empty house after the hex had collapsed and she was back in the clothes that it showed in the flashback when she went to Sword headquarters and stuff, I was just really thinking, like, I guess other than her finding herself and finding out who she was, I mean, what was really accomplished?
Yeah, there was for something that was supposed to set up Doctor Strange to, I thought there would be more of a lean on maybe even a small, slight post-credit to mid-credit cameo by Benedict Cumberbatch, or even Wong, somebody along those lines who's tied in.
Morbo or someone.
Yeah, with Doctor Strange. It didn't do anything.
She just referenced him, yeah. The Sorcerer Supreme, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. She's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Okay, so what am I supposed to do with that? I mean, so it's like, okay, so are you telling me that she's going to be the villain in Doctor Strange 2? So you spend 9 episodes of a television show developing the most powerful character in the MCU, who happens to be a woman, and that is pretty much universally loved. I mean, I've never really met anybody that hates Wanda's character.
No.
This is the most we actually got to see of her characters, and they stumbled greatly.
And that's sad too, because I really like Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of the character on screen. She's a really good actress. But yeah, this and I did find something, and I'm about to use a bingo buzzword, problematic with this episode. We had a all white, blue-eyed Vision. I'm triggered. I'm triggered. And
it wasn't a very attractive looking version of him either. Like they just basically like spray painted over top of the original makeup and white. And it just reminds me of the same type of response of like in the comics when they introduced the White Vision. There's like, really, they just the colorists got lazy. Like,
yep, the Vision got tagged.
Yeah, that's basically
Vision's waiting to get tagged. Oh, sorry, Jayne. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's probably one of the most accurate things in it.
The White Vision.
You just spray painted him, yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Daisy Divine says it sets up 2 things: Doctor Strange 2 and Secret Invasion. Yeah, that's about it, and partially Captain Marvel too.
You're dropping the ball on these scrolls, because anytime I've seen a scroll in the MCU, it's been a negative experience. Like, I'm pretty sure Far From Home is my least favorite MCU movie. I watched it once and I can't get through it again.
So you like Captain Marvel better?
I really think I do.
Oh.
I do.
Wait, better than what?
Far From Home.
Oh God, that's like asking me if I'd rather be shot or stabbed.
Yeah, it's like not by my. It's not like I'm.
Well, you don't feel the bullet.
This is true, depending on where you get shot.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of bullets, so the only thing Photon does is save a bunch of kids that don't exist from being shot.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for that guy to have shot them anyways. And on top of that, what crime did he commit that warranted him getting arrested by the FBI?
Other than being an insufferable prick, I mean, there was really...
Yeah, I don't know any laws about that yet. I mean, again, it takes place in like 2023, so who knows really what the future holds.
Is that live action cancel culture?
I guess.
You were a dick. You're canceled. Wait, what? The FBI comes in and arrests you.
He didn't do anything outside of his jurisdiction. Like, basically, a town was taken over by a supernatural being.
Yep.
And his entire goal was to sort of rescue the town, which he essentially did to a degree. I mean, he didn't really do anything, but wanted to release them, and he was there to secure those people, which it looked like he did.
Yep.
And then the artificial constructs of Wanda's children disabled his soldiers and their weapons without doing anything lethal, which is great, fine. But then his response was, "Oh, I'm going to shoot the constructs, which are not real beings."
Right.
And as a result, that warrants him getting picked up by the FBI and arrested. Like, I don't see the action, but result in the effect.
And
I was wondering about that, or whether it was what happened that led up to it. Because wasn't he running his own secret sort of program that everyone else wasn't aware of, and maybe he didn't have authority for? I thought that was the issue.
Was not conveyed effectively, at least not to me.
Yeah. I just knew he was tracking Vision. He found a way within the hex, but he was higher up on the security clearance. He didn't make that available to everybody.
Yeah, like if part of Sword was to rebuild Vision, and he's getting arrested for that also doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You have to get authorization for such
sentient weapon. Yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, what is his crime? That's just it. It's very CW-y. We're just like, oh, we're going to arrest him because he's the bad guy.
'Cause he's
Okay, prove to me
toxic.
that he did something bad. Well, you know, he went against the hero. Uh-huh. And where is there a law? What laws did he specifically break to do that? That's kind of an essential part of your perspective.
And they could have included that in her dialogue real quick, just have her run off his offenses.
Yeah, that would have, but that would have made sense. That
In a
would have made
snarky way.
sense. Yeah. God, hail Nano Reaper. How you doing, man? Robert Anderson. Hello, welcome back. Yeah, I was like, so yeah, why? I'm like, I was the same way. I was like, okay, so Hayward was a complete, like, he was definitely an antagonist. Okay, but yeah, what exactly legality wise did he do? He didn't do anything, like you said, script that wasn't out of his jurisdiction. You and Jayne, Tony, you're all absolutely right. There was nothing.
The chick that ran him into the car, she should be arrested for attempted murder.
That's attempted murder. Yeah,
I was going to say not just that, but he instructed them get off the base, and they attacked the sword guards and stuff a few episodes. So they've committed more actual crimes than Hayward ever did.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think script is right. I don't think they conveyed it properly, but I mean, he did. Basically, he was doing. I can't remember the exact dialogue, but it was mentioned at some point that he was doing something apart from what the government was aware of. And we know he did manipulate the footage that he showed them showing Wanda taking the body out of the facility. So that might be illegal, but they didn't explain exactly.
It's not like he murdered his girlfriend in cold blood and then killed Claw.
He's not getting a life sentence.
Right.
And then what bothered me too was the children. It seemed every time they began to disappear or dissolve, it was painful.
Mm-hmm.
But she just put them to bed and then came downstairs, and that was it. Like, I expected to hear them screaming in the background.
Yeah, I know.
There was nothing.
They just laid back and took it. I mean, it was like they did, you know. I mean, they were just like, yeah, I guess, you know, here, go to bed, kids. You're gonna disappear and be trapped in the spirit realm and be tortured by the devil until I can properly resurrect you again. But
I would do anything.
Or she could have retained that hex version over top of the undeveloped lot in the town, and it's just an isolated point.
Right.
All I want to see now is Vision staring into Wanda's eyes, saying, "There you are, stranger," and kissing as the hex closes it to the sound of children screaming. And not just the ones upstairs, the whole town.
Speaking of, okay.
I was gonna say, did you catch that when Dottie was like, "Can I let my daughter out of her bedroom?
Yes.
Maybe be friends with your son. She could be the school bully. Whatever storyline you want." I was like, "Can she come out of her bed? How long has this girl been in her damn bedroom? Has she gone to the bathroom? Jesus,
maybe like a week or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
the other thing, how long can you go without food?
Yeah.
These people at the edges of town were not moving.
Yeah.
So are they going to have atrophy? I mean, it's
right.
You know,
have to have some sort of long-term medical issues.
Yeah. It's like that one girl that was caught in the loop during the Halloween episode when she was standing there and she was hanging the ghost up and she was going like this. And you just saw that single tear coming, you know, rolled down the side of her face. When Vision was kind of like, when he ran into Agnes or Agatha at the end of town. I was like, because you could tell like her I was like, it's like NPCs when they run to a glitch in a game. Like her magic was like running on like, it was like the Rick and Morty episode with the
artificial holographic thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Too much data is being expended. Yeah.
Yeah, so they cut the percentage down on the outskirts, like Wanda did with her magic. So it's like they're just like out there just glitching out, you know. I was like,
well, there's actually no point to even have them out there if you're going to stretch the town out. Like there's a lot of things where it's an unfleshed out idea. It's like, okay, so she's going to relive it in a fantasy world, and she's going to occupy a town, and then we're like, okay, well, who's the witness that drew Wu there that caused him concern, that actually opened this up to be a thing that people know about? Well, we don't get that. Okay, why we have to wait till like the 8th episode to understand why she's reliving the television series. And then it's her parents' demise and all that other stuff. And it's like, well, this is all just weird. It doesn't convey as effectively as it should have, given the fact that it's a 9-episode series. And I think that comes down to the fact that they made the run times pretty much like just shy of a half hour overall for each episode.
Mm-hmm.
And this should have been at least a minimum of 45 minutes where you get a very, very solid understanding of what the rules are, what the character's journey are going to be, and then you throw in all these obstacles to try and achieve their goal. And it just doesn't really work out well. It seems rushed. It seems badly paced. I was saying on another stream that even if you were to take all 9 episodes and re-edit them to be a movie, you only have enough actual story content to get up to, I guess, either the end of the second act or halfway through the third act climax, because there's no proper resolution to this story that allows it to stand alone. Because even the ending cliffhanger is, so she's reading the book in the back of the cannon, but she's cabin, sorry, but she's also got a projection of herself reading another book and making tea. It's like, why? Like, who is that projection for when she's in the middle of nowhere? It doesn't make sense. So, and that's the other part too, is like, when you're writing a story, you're not writing to show the audience things the audience are going to pick up on and understand. You're writing things of like, what would the character do if nobody is watching them? Because that's what we fall in love with as we watch our stories. Like, we're seeing them do things that they think they're not being watched, or the relationships of the people are private, intimate conversations that are not public, and that's why we gravitate towards them, because we're the fly on the wall, so to speak. And so some of the choices that we get in this series just make me raise an eyebrow, going, well, why are they doing it this way? Why is Wanda making this artificial world and at the same time also broadcasting it?
Yeah.
Right.
Where'd the
it didn't make
frequency
me
come from?
Yeah.
Whose perspective were they watching from? Like, what, from literally, like, we watch from the camera's perspective. Whose perspective? Who was choosing what? You know what I mean? I don't know. Chaos, magic, the Force, whatever. That explains it.
Agatha, I guess she was behind the camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Based on the Agatha All Along.
But was she,
musical number.
And what does she get
she
from
was
broadcasting it out to the rest of the world? Like, what advantage does she gain from that? We don't see. Like, there's the question lingering is, why was this world created? We know why this world was created, but the thing is, why was it able to be viewed by someone who picked up basically a tube television and hooked it into a CBR frequency? Like, why?
Yeah. What did Agatha glean from this? What was it? There's, I mean, obviously she was trying to take Wanda's power, figure out the source of her power or whatever. But like, was she, like, that's the thing, is like, was she working alone? We don't, I don't know. That's another thing, we all got, the fan theories and things like that, getting, hooked into those. And I was telling Tony right before he came on air, I just got a tweet notification from like Charles Murphy from Murphy's Multiverse. I guess he's getting like threats and people telling him that he should commit great bodily harm to himself because he was wrong about his predictions about WandaVision. Like,
what?
Yeah,
that's stupid. I mean,
that seems a bit extreme.
There's lots of things to get upset about this show. I mean, I thought it was clever, but at the same time awfully convenient that Wanda turns her artificial construct into, the 4 runes cast on the walls of it so that she can control the magic inside. But to me, I'm thinking, well, how did she... Runes, you just can't do arbitrary symbols. You have to know what those runes mean. And she somehow knew that just from a glance within the room. Like, were they the same runes? I haven't gone back to check to see if she cast the same images.
They weren't the same runes.
So where did she get those images from, right?
And they stole the ending from Endgame. It was just the bait and switch. And instead of "I am Iron Man," she says, "You don't know who I am," or "You don't tell me who I am." But it's not far off from Endgame and Tony Stark and Thanos. It's really not.
No, you're right.
Well, the trick is that Stark used his nanotech to create his own Infinity Gauntlet while fighting Thanos, which, was a great desperate move. But at the same time, like, it's also got a big plot hole at the end, which is he's got the Infinity Stones, he's kind of dying, and Doctor Strange knows how to use the Time Stone to revert time back so Tony Stark didn't can face the effects, or at least freeze him so that they can get a medical treatment or something. Like,
Yeah.
there's all these things that they could have done in that period
Yeah.
to save his life. But obviously, the Robert Downey Jr.'s contract was up, and Marvel wanted to go in a different direction at that point. So they're like, well, we'll just have to let him die through arrogance or ignorance. So
Yeah.
sorry. And it's like, no, that's not how you do it that way.
No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. It's just like they took a page from The Critical Drinker. They're like, nah, it'll be fine. You know?
Well, that's the other part too. When you're dealing with such a complicated story with a lot of people involved, you don't actually get the time to step away for like 5 minutes and be like, is this really the right decision story wise to go?
Yeah. Things just happen because the story needs them to at some point, because you have a clear cut, conclusion you have to get to, and you're working with a budget, and that's
Well, you're writing towards a specific ending, but not creating all the connective tissue to reach that ending in the most inevitable way, because that's kind of your principal rule of plot, is that a plot is a series of inevitable events, and by inevitable I mean the choices that are being made by the characters are true to those characters, so the result is always going to be the same, because those are the types of characters and those are the types of choices they're going to make. When you have someone like Doctor Strange, who saw all the time, the millions of different time versions of how this would play out, and also experimented with time loops and everything, you're wondering, okay, well, if he knows that Stark is going to do this and snap his fingers and risk death, well, then he should be the first one there to help Stark recover using his Sorcerer Supreme magic, because that's what we've seen in the previous film of his. Is that what he does? But he doesn't do that. So right now you've got your issue, right?
Thanos brought Vision back and only affected Vision's body when bringing him back in Infinity War.
Yeah, he brought him back to bring back the Time Stone.
And that one.
Or the Mind
thing
Stone.
out of all of reality, though, like, you didn't see Captain America, or he was laid out at the time, but Wanda, you didn't see everything moving around. He was only affecting that physical object through time.
Yep.
So why couldn't they do that to Tony Stark?
Yeah, that's one thing that it was like Script said, it was because his contract was up and they didn't want to pay him. I mean, what did Robert Downey Jr. make? Half a billion.
He had a $50 million contract.
Wow.
Originally,
and that doesn't all go to him. I mean, that's dispersed over other things, and also a majority of that money goes to his production company called Team Downey. So that pays for a lot of people that work under him to help find him scripts and co-produce and finance other projects. So that's not all bank for him. In fact, anytime you see an actor make like more than 15 million, most of that money's going into their personal production company to help them get more work in the future.
That's still a good check, though.
Yeah.
It's still good, yeah. But like it's going over, it's funding another business. So
Yep. It's all going back into feed the machine.
Exactly.
Hey, it's Bone. Hang on a second. Bone. I gotta make that bumper for I gotta make that bumper for Bone. Hey, Bone, how you doing?
Real quick with that. Hell yeah. That post-credit scene with Wanda relaxing on the porch and getting her tea, and then you go into the back and she has the Darkhold and his. So, I think that's just a callback to Doctor Strange, and saying I think that's just setting up Doctor Strange, because I went back and watched that a little while ago, and there's a scene where he's at the Comertage and he's first learning magic, and he's sleeping, and he has his astral form reading and studying while he's sleeping. So I think that's just exactly what it was. It was Wanda relaxing after a messed up couple weeks, but also getting better and better at magic, at least till she heard the kids scream. So
that was the projection reading the book, and not her reading the book, and the other way was the projection. See, that's a little bit trickier for them, because it didn't seem that way to me when I was watching it. It's like,
I thought it was the other way too.
I thought the projection was her sitting out on the porch, and Wanda form, and then Scarlet Witch was actually reading the Darkhold. I kind of did you catch, like, they showed the page, and one was like the multiverse, a reference to the multiverse. I was watching what's her name's review of it a little bit before the show started. Oh, this one. And she actually had a good screen cap of that. And it was like when she was looking at the book, it was like she was looking at, like, one side was the multiverse, and I can't remember what the other page was.
She's reading it backwards too. She turned the pages in the opposite direction. That was weird.
But well, she's like, I can just read it anyway. It doesn't matter.
Maybe it's
I'm
like
wandering.
manga.
Every page is its own individual story and lesson, so the order is irrelevant.
Welcome to the dark hole where grammar
It's
doesn't matter.
your choose your own magic spell.
There you go.
If you want to do it this way, flip to page 17. If you want to have this result, flip to page 85.
Don't take your hand off the page, and you can have a do-over.
Yeah.
Don't fully turn the page. You got to keep your thumb and your forefinger in between it, and it doesn't count. You can go back. That was my rule when I was reading those books.
Hopefully, none of the pages are stuck together.
Oh Jesus!
What do you
That's
doing
a
with
choose
the
your own
dark hole?
adult adventure. I think that was done by Hustler or something, right?
What section did she get that book from at the magic bookstore? Good grief!
Why did Agatha? Why? I mean, they moved. From what I understand, WandaVision was supposed to take place in Colorado originally, and they moved it to New Jersey. And then I heard a lot of speculation that way they can be close to the New York Sanctum or to the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
She's so close to New York. Why didn't Doctor Strange or Wong or anybody pick up on the afterglow of her spells besides Agatha? Which that just seems kind of convenient.
Yeah,
as
He was
well.
busy.
Maybe Doctor Strange was reading up on the Scarlet Witch if he detected the magic. And he's like, I can't just go in there willy-nilly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just like, because Endgame showed, I wasn't sure where we stood on the whole Wizard and Witch situation in the MCU, because it just didn't seem like there were that many since Strange took over. But that final battle in Endgame, it showed dozens and dozens of wizards. So, I mean, where are they?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Vacation?
At the beach?
Recharging after Endgame?
Yeah. Yeah, did you bring everybody? This isn't
They did that huge shield. Like, that gotta take a toll on you,
tired.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were blocking the Thanos' rain fire, because that's when Scarlet Witch was literally going to rip him apart on every level of his existence, anywhere he may have possibly existed.
And I didn't understand why they blocked it. Why didn't they just open up portals that would then appeared above the ship so that they'd end up shooting themselves?
That would have been slick, but then they would have had to deal with the shrapnel. Then they would have had to open more portals.
But no, the shrapnel still going to the portal, be an infinite loop sort of thing.
Oh yeah, true, true, very, very good, true.
If I'm ever, sorry, Jane, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking that's actually they should have done that.
Yeah, if I ever go into battle, I'm bringing you with me, Script Doctor. Like, holy shit.
Excellent strategy.
Is this General Patton?
I have a far deeper voice than General Patton. I've heard how he actually sounds in some audio recordings. It's very, very high pitched. It's nowhere near as
he didn't sound
interesting
George
as the actual movie.
He didn't sound like George C. Scott.
No, man, George C. Scott would be a very intimidating Patton. Patton himself was like, "Hey, everybody, how's it going?"
What?
Pee-wee Patton.
Oh God, yeah. He has a very high pitched kind of whiny voice.
That's so funny to hear. It really is. I always pictured like an Arlie Ermy-esque voice, like watching Full Metal Jacket as a kid. Like my dad's a Vietnam vet and a Marine, and he would tell me, he made me watch that movie. I remember Viewer's Choice pay-per-view as a kid, and he's like, this is what it was. He goes, this is the closest to Vietnam, to boot camp I've ever seen. He's like, this is what it was like. And I was watching that movie as a kid, just terrified. Then my dad tried to get me to go in the service after school. I'm like, I'm like, no, you didn't show me Full Metal Jacket when I was like 8 years old. No. Hey, Kai MFS, what's going on, brother? Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us. Let's see here. So yeah, there's I had to laugh at the beginning when Agatha was levitating and she had her magic. She was kind of like had Billy and Tommy lassoed around the neck. I made a meme out of that. And it was it said Michigan bars and restaurants, and I just put our governor's head on Agatha's body. I couldn't help it. But
I didn't even understand the point of that scene.
No, I was like, so yeah, she's choking the imaginary kids. I'm like,
right.
Can they, if they're imaginary, can they really die? I'm like, I was looking at my TV. I'm like, can they though? Can they? I'm just like, I mean, I understand, they're inside the hex, they're alive to Wanda, but yeah, I mean, she just let him go at the end. Like you said, she could have kept her hex around the house and kept the house intact, so the family could have lived in it. But she was like,
Yeah, they
I
just
gotta
never can
go.
leave.
Yeah.
Only Wanda can leave, but like,
Yep. I mean, and for somebody who can create their own reality, I mean, if it's like, hey, we want to go to the park, it's like, hang on, bam, here's a park,
yeah, put it in the backyard.
yeah. I mean, it was kind of, I'm looking at it, like a lot of, like you said, there was just a lot of the little scenes in the show that it just didn't track,
You know who?
Go ahead, bro.
You know who I feel really bad for?
Who?
Who's that?
Agent Franklin's wife and kids.
Oh yeah, we never found out what happened to him. He was just gone.
He just disappeared when Wanda said no. The beekeeper, when he came out of the sewer,
Yeah.
he just said no, and he went Judy Winslow. Like, okay.
What happened to that dude?
He was the Cunningham kid. He just disappeared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that poor man's family.
Yeah, but it was. I always think about that when I watch these movies. It's like the first Avengers movie, the opening where Loki takes Hawkeye, and it's like he just killed like 20 scientists, like 15 sword agents. I'm like, these people have families. Like, are we just going to totally disregard them as fodder, like they're stormtroopers? I mean, we can see their faces. Stand on my moral soapbox and stand up for these.
Avengers and Avengers: Age of Ultron were not. They had their moments of awesomeness, but they just fell short. I mean,
and that's the thing.
That's
like,
Joss Whedon, who's basically far more rewarded than what he's ever actually earned. So
yeah,
Joss Whedon, the walking foreskin.
No, I haven't liked him. I mean, I enjoyed Buffy for the first few seasons, but I liked the movie better because it was a bit more coherent story.
Yeah.
But Joss Whedon, he took a type of writing of like the levity break, and he applied it to every single character to the point where the characters themselves, their lines are interchangeable. I tried this experiment when I first went out to Hollywood as a joke, where I would take an existing Buffy the Vampire script and I would take the file and I would switch all the names out for all the stuff that wasn't specifically plot. So like anything that Giles had to say that was quintessentially Giles, which is usually exposition, I would keep. But I would switch out between Buffy, I'd switch out between Willow and Xander and Angel, and I would send it to some of my friends who like were assistants on that show, and be like, "Oh, dude, did you read this script deck down to Buffy?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool original story." It's like, no, that's one of the ones that you worked on. Like, what? Really? Like, yeah, I changed all the character names. Oh, I didn't notice. Like, that's a big problem. You should know that right away, and that's telling that the fact that aside from like the key dramatic moments where Buffy's like, "I'm the Slayer," you could put any of the lines she says into any of the other characters, and it would sound the same. Like, and that's bad. Like, the lines in the dialogue have to be specific to the individual character, and that's one of Joss Whedon's biggest flaws. And he taught a lot of writers how to do that, and we're seeing its ripple effect in a lot of other television shows where they're just garbage.
Wasn't that intentional? Like, that was his style, wasn't it? To have all the characters essentially have the same voice.
That was kind of his style, but it's very opposite of what you do for an actor, because for a character or story, because you don't have conflict there, or you don't have anything that makes that character an actual character. It's so singular on one voice where you don't feel like it just feels like one person in a room talking to themselves as opposed to a bunch of people holding a conversation.
So it did, but I chalked it up to that's just being his show, how it is.
How is that? I never heard that before. How is that a good thing that all of that's like
it's not
being a conductor and all the instruments in the orchestra are playing the same notes, and you're like, well, that's my style. It's like, no, you suck.
Yeah, you're just not good at your job.
Well, what it is technically, it's all the players in the orchestra playing only one instrument.
Exactly. And what it reminds me of how you describe his characters, he's just boiling them down to Family Guy cutscenes, just interchangeable jokes. They can go anywhere. I mean,
yeah.
Jeez,
that's not a good place to be. Let's be honest.
It isn't. I mean, I've watched Firefly, and the only character that actually stands out is the engineer, and that's because everything she says either has to do with the ship or have to do with the fact that she's in love with the doctor. But all the other ones, like
that's it.
Mal and Wash, you could interchange those lines anytime.
That's true. And you could probably interchange the lines across stories too.
Yeah,
because they all kind of sound the same.
It does, and that's not good writing. I mean, they may say interesting things, but when it's coming from the exact same voice and it's interchangeable, that's really not good writing. It's like they all come from the exact same background, all come with the exact same lexicon. There's no individuality to them.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
sad. I mean, why do you think people
NPC.
love The Office so much? Is that each one of those characters
I
has
love
their
that
own
show.
distinct voice, and
Oh,
that show is
God.
not improvised. Like they go meticulous on that to the point
Oh.
where the showrunners are saying you have to say between these two words in this way.
Yep. It's like Jim's head tilts and everything. You know, that was like all plot. Yeah, I love that
All
show.
specifically requested and demanded of them.
And speaking of The Office, and to correlate that back to WandaVision, Randall Park forgot he played Asian Jim in that show.
Huh? You forgot.
He forgot he did that. The scene in the beginning where he played Jim.
Oh.
He forgot that role.
He forgot that he forgot that he did. They interviewed him. It was an article. I can't remember where I saw the article, but yeah, he had forgotten that he did that. He did that role.
I guess it was really only 2 days' work. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it must have been like over so quick. He was like, oh, you do so many gigs and you just breeze through it. He was genius in what was that? The Interview.
Yep.
Oh my God, he was so funny in that. Like that and Off the Boat.
He's a really good actor, period.
He is. He's underappreciated in my estimation. Like I mean,
he's still in his early years, man. Like he's been around for a while, but as an actor, like you're still like 10 years, you're still considered a fresh actor, especially if you haven't blown up.
Yep. I really do. I like him. I like his humor. He seems like he's genuinely probably like a really nice guy. And it kind of like to me, it just like kind of comes through in his roles. Like he's invested. I do. I think I like him as an actor. I do. I like the characters he's played. It's like you said, but that might be because he's still kind of, like you said, fresh by industry standards. He's not jaded yet.
Well, not so much jaded. It's just that he's not a name recognition point.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's getting his own show eventually. His character plays the head of Atlas in the Marvel universe. So he's going to be part of an Agents of Atlas project. I can see down the road. He was pretty good in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I dug what he was trying to do there because he fits the tone of what those movies and what this show is supposed to be, because they figured out what that tone was pretty much right after Thor. When they were making Thor over at Paramount.
Yeah.
So they've been holding on to that tone with an iron fist for a long time. And while it has kind of diluted a little bit of the creativity out of the films, it's something that's working for them. So they're going to maintain it.
Speaking of Ant-Man, did you guys see that T.I. will not be back in Ant-Man due to some more legal troubles?
Me too's.
A few of them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who's leading the scoreboard right now, him or Cuomo, but I'm pretty sure they're neck and neck. But yeah, what's that?
I was gonna say I sure hate it because I've always liked him.
Yes.
And how he was able to branch out into acting and actually doing a good job. So to screw that up with this foolishness, it's just like, dude, you had everything going for you.
It's like the Monday Night Football. You just want to be like, come on, man. Like Tip, really? Like you have the world by the ass right now. Like you've broken into Marvel, which is good of an ancillary character as he is in that little 3-man crew that Paul Rudd has with what's his name, Michael Pena and T.I. and I can't remember the third gentleman's name, but they're funny ancillary characters, and they have a.
Oh, you're talking about David Dashmalchian? Dashmalchian?
Is that I don't? Yes, I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, he's he was a day player, like a secondary character in the Dark Knight movie, the one that Aaron Eckhart holds a gun to. One of Joker's goons posing as a cop.
Okay.
And yeah, he does the Russian voice. He was also in MacGyver. He's a good character actor.
All right. Yeah. The Russian voice. Yes, we are familiar with the Russian accent here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tony.
So,
I'm sorry, bro.
No, I'm just thinking this might open an opportunity for T.I. to join the Guardians of the Galaxy cast.
Oh God. That's is that team's not headed up by do I even need to? I'm not even gonna say his name. I'm afraid he'll appear behind me. But no, really. This so I mean, do you think we're gonna see the kids again? Eventually down the line, because I was led to believe that they would probably stick around somehow after this show because they wanted to use them in the Young Avengers. Because
Right.
what better way to wasn't which one wasn't the comics that was with Hulkling, wasn't it Wiccan Billy?
Which
There
one
was
you mean was gay?
yeah, one was gay in the comics and
I
has a
can't
relationship with
remember.
Hulkling. I was like, and with the way Marvel is going, I can see them using that as a prop to push that. I mean, like I said, I don't care if a character's gay. I don't. But make it part of who they are and have a meaning other than surface level. Like, look here, like they did with Eternals, for example. You know, they're like, it's gonna have the first gay on-screen Marvel Cinematic Universe kiss. I'm like, I don't care if it does or not. That's not going to bother me. What's going to bother me is if the movie's bad and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, if you do it just to do it, then why do it at all? Because you're not winning any points with the, with the community that for that kind of, the LGBTQ. That's not really proper representation of them. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just the way the decisions they make are weird to me at times. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know, a boomer. I don't know. I'm not a boomer, but
I think
I
we'll
feel
see them again for reasons you just stated, and also they're just setting up a new generation of characters. So,
yeah.
now they may be aged up by the time we see them again, but yeah.
That's what I
That could be
figured.
the same actors, yeah.
Oh yeah, I assume they'd probably age them up. That's what I thought. I was like, I figured they would age them up more by the end of the show. Honestly,
Yeah, I thought so too.
yeah, I was like, I figured they'd be like teenagers, and that's what I said. They'd probably be like, okay, so here they're gonna be in the Young Avengers, because you've got Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show, and I don't know what's going on with that because I heard Jeremy Renner's canceled again. Is this like the third time for him though?
They keep trying.
Yeah, he did have that. Well, I mean, he was canceled way before even cancel culture was a thing because nobody knew who he was before the Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
He was basically the biggest movie I think he had was gosh, I can't remember. National Lampoon Senior Trip, maybe. I don't know.
Renner?
Oh wow,
He
I
was
forgot-
no, he
I
was
forgot he was in that.
There's
he was
another
in
thing
one of
between
the-
that too, but yeah.
He was in one of those movies where he played the spy. I can't remember the name of it.
Well, he played a Jason Bourne thing after
that
the Hurt,
thing.
but that was after the Hurt Locker. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
so, yeah.
but yeah, so you got Kate Bishop. You've got they recast what's her name, Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter.
Well, they aged her up 5 years, so yeah, they have a new actor.
Yep, they got her. I'm trying to think who else they have for the Young Avengers right now.
They got Tony Stark's daughter Morgan.
Oh,
Who they
that's
could
right.
use.
Well, they're gonna, but they're gonna use Riri instead because they've got that. They have an Ironheart show planned, don't they?
They have an Ironheart show planned. They have Miss Marvel show, which is coming out later this year, which they did in secret. And oh boy,
That's
I feel
gonna
sorry
be
for
fun.
the girl that they cast as her because she's going to be facing a lot of scrutiny, and also she's not a professional actress in any way, shape, or form. So,
oh boy,
I really hope that they have a good support system in place for her to actually give a performance and meet the requirements that the role has, and keep her safe from the crazies out there and whatnot. Because kids should not be thrown. I mean, I don't like the concept of child actors and stuff. They really shouldn't be thrown into those types of things. There are some younger kids that come to the term that they want to become actors on their own and not from their parents.
Yeah.
And those ones are usually the more sane ones that kind of get out of acting after a couple of years because they hate how it actually is. But yeah, it's I just it also doesn't help to the fact that Miss Marvel was an interesting concept but a horribly executed story and idea within the comics. And yeah, it's just I think this is where Marvel franchise will start losing its reputation and through the Disney Plus aspect of things. I think their movies are going to be okay,
Mhm.
But I think the series that they're doing on Disney Plus, I don't think they have it. Again, this is also an area that Kevin Feige is not 100% understandable and 100% in the know of,
Yeah.
because he started in film and he knows how film works, and he's made Marvel Studios kind of function like a TV writer's room by having like a position that acts like a showrunner, which he would be technically guiding the direction of the series and having writers tackle each individual episodes, chapters, or films in this case, and doing it in the long form. But for WandaVision, this is being their first one out, and they stumbled this badly. And projections for Falcon and the Winter Soldier aren't looking too great either. And there's
Oh,
already contention on She-Hulk, because one of the staff writers has had some social media made some social accusations on social media and hateful things and terrible books and whatnot. And luckily, she's not the showrunner, but she's still a contributor to that series. And
Are
yeah,
we
it's just
talking about are we talking about Dana? Our good
yeah,
friend.
she's just a staff writer. She's not the showrunner. She has no creative control over the series.
See, I thought at first she was a showrunner.
Well, no, she's just the showrunner is
Who's-
actually another woman, decent writer as far as I know in reputation,
Okay.
but she wasn't being very contentious or doing anything on social media to warrant any sort of attention, negative or otherwise, to her. It was all Dana Schwartz.
Oh well, yeah. She was the one that came. She went after South Park and then got blowback and then recoiled and played victim. You know, it's like
mhm.
a woman can't have an opinion about anything. It's like no, you had an opinion, you put it out there, and you know what's going to happen if it's a bad hot take. And Twitter
Or if
did
it's
its
just on
thing.
social media. I mean, you
Yeah.
post anything, you're gonna get attention. So why
Yep.
whine about it after the fact?
Well, victim status now, right? I mean, that's what she
But
was
I
looking for.
The other
Here's the
part
thing.
too is I think she only has her career because her name is very similar to the former showrunner of the last season of Arrow.
Mhm.
And I think I think someone, because she's a journalist. Dana Schwartz is a freelance journalist primarily, and she's written a couple of like self-published books, but she's never worked in television. I think she took advantage of the fact that her name is incredibly close to an existing series television writer, and swindled someone ever at Disney to get
Wow.
onto this show, because she's, as far as I can tell from her work, she's not qualified in the least to be able to work on anything.
That's a hell of a grift.
Well, that's what happens when you have similar sounding names to other celebrities. I mean, it actually still works, especially considering the fact that Google as a search engine is not really the best in regards to when you type in a person's name and it's like, do you mean this? And they just click the first link and get this background information. And sometimes they don't have pictures of who the person is you're looking up. So yeah, you make some assumptions based on incomplete information and end up paying the price for it. But we don't live in a society where people have time to do their due diligence. So.
But
Yeah.
sometimes don't they just choose these people knowing full well that they aren't qualified? I mean, it reminds me of Coates writing the next Superman film. It's like,
Oh, Tallahassee quote.
yeah,
Yeah, he's nowhere near qualified. He wasn't even qualified to write the comic books. I don't know how he got that job either.
it makes no sense.
Yeah, he made some bad Captain
People
America
are
books.
disconnected from reality. The execs,
Well, it's like we were. Oh, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, man.
No, I was going to change the subject.
Yeah.
So
No. Go ahead, man. Whatever.
Well, it's kind of been eating at me since they announced the new Spider-Man. What is it? No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
They released so many names, I can't get the name of it right now. Does Marvel Studios, I know it's a Sony movie, but they have some control over like when they might release that, right? Or if Sony puts their foot down, we're doing it now.
No,
Because
really.
I think it's weird that I'm trying to figure out what it means that the Eternals is coming out in November. I don't think they have a lot of confidence in the Eternals either. And then a month later, they're dropping Spider-Man. And I think we've even seen MCU movies come out like within 90 days of each other. I think Captain Marvel
and Endgame.
Yep, Captain Marvel and Endgame and Infinity War all within 3 months of each other, I believe.
But
Infinity War was summer. What the heck was before?
It was Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home.
Right. Thank you.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So what does that really say? Like a month? They're like a month from each other, maybe like 40, 45 days or something at most. But
Well, nobody's talking about Eternals,
No.
and there's no hype for it. There's no build up.
There's no promotion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the one promotional art they did put out was a very terrible artist rendition of the cast, and I can't believe that got approved. As for regards to the Sony and Disney deal, as far as my understanding of it is that Disney has basically full control, and it's really just the deal is only that Sony is lending them the character.
so then they made the decision, let's release Spider-Man a month after the Eternals. I'm just
Sony doesn't have really much say in that unless it's part of the things that they negotiated, and usually
Yeah.
it's the case because Marvel and Disney are the bigger company. They're the ones that have all the windows pre-purchased years in advance for theatrical runs.
yeah.
Most other studios can't do that as easily. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Sony is not able to determine what's going on there. If anything, I think what they're hoping to do is get Eternals to be the lead into the bigger events. So whatever is going on in Eternals, they'll probably set up something to make it say it has relevance to Spider-Man Far From Home or No Going Home or whatever the heck it is. No Way Home.
What it'll be bad
No
either
going
way.
home. That should be the name.
Spider-Man, no soup for you. That Seinfeld reference fell flat. Let me get a cricket sounder.
I've been
Jesus.
to that soup stand. It's actually really good.
I know my sister went there. She used to live right in she lived in Harlem, her and her husband, but yeah, they that's what she was always like. She would send me pictures from different places. She goes, "Oh yeah, I'm here," because she knows I'm a Seinfeld fan. Like that's basically life.
Go to Monk's restaurant. That's it doesn't look anything like the show inside.
That's what she said. It like broke my heart. I'm like, no, it has to. But I'm not going to start talking about Seinfeld. No, I think on the grand scheme of things, like these, looking at like the Eternals, because Shang-Chi comes out this summer, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yes.
Yeah, that comes out in July.
So 4 movies this year.
And you've got the other one too.
Black Widow.
Black Widow. Yeah, the one everybody forgets about because it should have come out 8 years ago. Black Widow.
So 4 movies and how many TV shows?
Well, they did for I think 3 or 4 years. They did 3 Marvel movies a year, and now they're doing 4. But the other part too is that I'm hoping they do get theatrical runs, but I'm pretty sure they're going to get some of these are going to get Disney Plus exclusives.
Yeah.
At least in the first half of the year. Shang-Chi, written by the same guy who wrote Wonder Woman in 1984, so don't have to hold that in too high regard. He's also the same guy that wrote Mortal Kombat reboot, but again, that's an easier project because that doesn't really matter on story and dialogue. It's all about the kick-ass fight scenes and kills and whatnot. So at least that could be somewhat enjoyable. But then again, people thought the same thing was going to be the case with the first Doom movie, but with the Rock, and that was also poorly received too. As that's the same writer. So it's weird, man. It's going to be a very strange year for films.
I think they're panicking a bit, and they're well, I mean, obviously everything's shut down for so long, and we know they lost some money, but they were in a position before 2020 where, I mean, they were getting, I call it Vince McMahon syndrome, but it's like when you hit a certain point of success, they start thinking, no, we tell the audience what they like. They don't tell us, and that's when we start getting into like agenda. And I mean, I think it's deeper than that too, but I don't know if that, like, maybe Kevin Feige wishes he might have pumped the brakes on that a little now that they don't have as much leverage as they may have had if everything didn't, shut down. So,
well, the whole goal is to dominate the conversation of entertainment. So what Feige's plan is to make sure that there's at least something Marvel related happening every week of the year. And so long as that's happening, it's maintaining and it's keeping it in the conversation, they're able to use that as collateral for loans to pay for productions and keep themselves making money.
makes sense.
So his plan is kind of working. I think this is going to be the first. I think this is the first attempt at having a full year that is fully Marvel related. I think 2022 is going to be every week there's something new from Marvel coming out, be it like an episode of a television show or a feature film. I think they're going to dominate 2022.
Is that going to
And
be too much though?
it's going to, I mean, I think after 2022 and whatever happens for 2023, you're going to have the non-Marvel fans, the normies, the casuals, they're going to start feeling the oversaturation of it really, really hard. And then that's
Yeah.
where you're going to see a really sharp decline.
It's not a sustainable business model. But
But
I
if they're
mean,
not making money off of films, I mean, what are I mean, in
Yeah.
theaters?
what's
what
funding
other
it?
Would be
options
the
do they have?
Disney Plus accounts, because again, that's monthly returns of investment.
Yeah.
It's in the millions upon millions of dollars, so it's really, really good system to have. And so long as they're holding on to subscribers, they will keep making it. And to the point of, especially for Marvel, they've got a minimum of 60 years of stories they can draw upon and reinterpret for their shows and series and whatever they want to do. So even though they kind of been rushing some things with like Infinity War, and then they glossed over Age of Ultron, which was terrible, but such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And now they're probably doing, Secret Invasion and maybe even Secret Wars. Yeah, they're kind of burning through some of their pinnacle stuff pretty fast. Even though there's a lot of like intimate and smaller stories they could be addressing, but part of me thinks that has to do with them trying to maintain all the rights to the Marvel characters, and right now Sony's got a big chunk of those characters that they can't use. So I think as a result, it's having a negative impact on Disney, because now they're burning through stories that they can't do without. They're burning through other stories that they would have probably done later, because they can't do the ones that have some of the characters from the Spider-Man universe.
That kills me because I just bought the Infinity Saga like trade, the whole thing. And I'm like, well, I knew it before that, but Adam Warlock is a major player. And we were, teased him at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. And,
Yep.
we still haven't got Adam Warlock.
Well, the firing of James Gunn through Endgame,
Yeah.
big loop, because Endgame is not 100% of what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
There were rumors that, yes, there's going to be Adam Warlock in there. There was also rumors that there's going to be more of Captain Marvel, and this was before her movie came out, because they did shoot a whole bunch of scenes where she's actually a significant part of the team.
Mhm.
And the story was that she was a bit more likable in Endgame than she was in her own debut film.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of re-edits and a lot of cuts and a lot of changes, not just after James Gunn's termination, but also after the reception of Captain Marvel. So yeah, I don't know what the heck could have been, but I think Endgame probably would have been better if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot like that.
Mhm.
Regardless of what you think about James Gunn, that type of thing warrants an investigation first before a termination. That's my opinion.
No, absolutely. It's due process.
Yeah.
I don't go for that court of public opinion thing either on either side. You have a right to due process. So yeah, I didn't,
The problem is that a lot of companies don't care. Negative
No.
attention, you're cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
Well, not only that, I mean, there's so many people that are underneath or adjacent to you that if you do pull a stupid thing, they will do everything they can to get rid of you so that they can fill your position,
Mm-hmm.
especially in Hollywood.
When you look at it too, it's like Jayne said, yeah, you slip up and you're gone, because they've got shareholders to answer to. The board of directors doesn't want a PR scandal involving somebody making those tweets like Gunn made. I don't need to go.
And those tweets that Gunn made are very in line with the disgusting shock value of what Trauma is, and that's where he got his start in Trauma Pictures in New Jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say Trauma. Yeah, everybody,
because they do some
Trauma.
crazy stuff, man. Like they do,
Yes.
they have like dark comedies with incest and suicide, and it's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's some really gross stuff in there. But that's their brand.
Yep.
And the time that he was making those tweets, he was part of Trauma.
It's a niche audience, but it does have an audience.
Oh yeah.
No, I've seen some of like the Toxic Avenger movies and stuff like that. Like not in a long time, but I've seen some of those. But yeah, it is. It's like he was, he's in line with that brand. But no, yeah,
that like Toxic Avenger is probably one of its most cleanest movies.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
I think, but Disney wasn't having that. They're like, yeah, no.
Well, Alan Horn wasn't having that, and Alan Horn is
yeah.
He's got a I mean, he has a really good track record. He's a strong voice, and but he screwed up there. He wielded power he otherwise really doesn't have.
Yeah.
And what happened? Well, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was delayed like a number of years. James Gunn then got the opportunity to work for Warner Brothers for The Suicide Squad, which I think will be a fun film, but also, a little peculiar because Suicide Squad is. It's not something I think the movie-going audience world is ready as of yet, because it's very much an inside type of joke concept for DC.
Okay.
And since you don't really have an established DC film franchise, the Suicide Squad can't really take advantage of that as successfully as it otherwise should. And this is something that, because I worked on the original Suicide Squad, not as a writer, sadly, although I would have loved to have helped help get that script work better. But that was just one of the things that a lot of the crew and some of the assistants and stuff were saying, is like, we're jumping neck deep into a franchise that just dipped its toe into the water. It's really not a good idea to do this right now.
It took me I started watching the first one, the Suicide Squad. It's weird because you always say the in front of it, but Suicide Squad. I started the 2016 one. I think it was 2016. Was it? I started watching it right after it came out. I rented it. I never finished. I got like 45 minutes into it. I was like, I just stopped, and I just finished watching like a couple months ago. I think I was telling you about it. It was my wife had recorded it for my son, because my son likes superhero movies, stuff like that. So she recorded it, and I finished watching. I was like, I just didn't like it. I mean, I liked what's his name, El Diablo.
Oh yeah, he was cool.
I liked his character. I liked his arc.
One of the few things saved from that edit, because again, it was a couple of movie trailer companies that cut the movie up finally.
Oh.
And there was so much stuff that I got to see that was nowhere near in the film. That some of it was cool, some was god awful.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what they're doing, and I don't think they're going to get an IR cut of Suicide Squad.
Yes, I've seen callings for that now.
I know. Listen, even if you do get that, I don't think it's probably going to be better than Suicide Squad, but I don't think it's going to be much greater than or the greatest thing ever. And I have the same issues with the Snyder cut. I think I'm happy that the fans are going to get it. I hope that it satisfies. But again, like a 4-hour movie all in one go, and like I love Lord of the Rings. I still watch those in sections because I just don't want to binge it all the way through. I need a break from that type of stuff. I can read even when I read the book, I can't read the book in a single sitting. Why should I expect to watch the movie in a single sitting? It's just, it's a lot to ask for. I'm a big fan of like the 90 minutes, and if you're hitting 2 hours, you're pushing it for pacing and story wise. And if you can't tell an effective story in that time frame, you're probably not a good storyteller.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like I'm gonna grab HBO Max to watch the Snyder cut, and plus there's a lot of stuff, that's got the Batman animated series, and
I got that on Blu-ray, man. Like I'm all about the physical media.
Dude, trust me too. But it's just like it's cheaper for me to grab that right now, and then accrue these things over time. I know, like if you ever seen my videos, if I shoot a video, if I'm out and there's DVDs behind me, that's not a green screen. That's like my DVD racks behind me. I got those. I got those from the family video right by my house. Sadly, it just closed. This location here, it was a block away from my house. It was open for like 21 years, and they all just shut down, and they were giving away the racks, and I'm like, yeah, I'll grab a couple of those. What the hell? So like when we move, they're gonna go in my basement in my media room. That'll be like attached to my recording studio and stuff. So, but yeah, I was like, for now they're in the living room where I live now. But yeah, they're I use those as a nice little backdrop for my videos when I can't be in the office.
I have a bunch of DVDs. Not so much I lent them to my sister because she lives in a bigger place than I have, but I've ported them all over to a digital server, a physical server. It's not connected to the internet, it's air-gapped, so it's connected only to my Blu-ray player. My Blu-ray player is not connected to anything else other than my TV and projector. So I've got it's a 14 terabyte drive right now. and it's almost packed of stuff,
Wow.
TV shows, movies, everything that I purchased, everything that I got digitally as well that I purchased digitally. I put it all on there so I can watch it, and I've got it backed up as well so that in the eventuality that I do have children, I can show them some really quality stuff in their youth so that they can at least create some standards for what they want to ingest in their entertainment.
See, that's physical media. It is so important. The way they're editing things and getting rid of things right now, and
or making it so you can't purchase them.
Yeah, this right here, and this is totally off topic, but I'll turn the camera on here. It's been kind of nice not being on camera. I didn't have my face on tonight. But no, this right here. Yeah, this is we got this. I can't remember. One of my let's see, who was my in-laws got this for my son. And I read him that a couple nights a week when we're not reading R.L. Stein books because he loves those. He loves them.
Yeah.
But the Goosebumps movies are amazing, dude. My kid, like he has such a fun time watching those. But yeah, I read him Dr. Seuss all the time. And he loves those stories. And those stories are so good and wholesome. It was just like with all
the places you'll go is a great one.
Yeah, and it's like I was just reading McGilligot's Pool the other night in there to him, and I'm like, these are, like I grew up reading Dr. Seuss books, and my mom reading to me as a kid, so it's just like to see Dr. Seuss get like my son's school, they had it was National Reading Day, they had which is Dr. Seuss's thing, and so like they had Dr. Seuss Day at my son's school, a bunch of like the kids dressed up in costumes, like. It was fun, they had like they all read like all afternoon. They spent the afternoon like reading books. I'm like that, and it's important to have stuff like that. And to cancel a man who fought for civil rights and inclusion like that is it seems
ignorant from their history of understanding of who he is. Luckily, where I am in Canada, the books are still around and available in libraries, and the libraries have also gone publicly saying we're not removing these books from them. We think because again, no side, no community or faction that ever decided that it's okay to remove or burn or cancel books. It was ever historically in the right.
No, no, they were not.
I don't know of anything where they were. I don't know of any book that's written so much to the point where it has corrupted an entire generation. And like even some of the ones from on various communist parties and whatnot, those books are a learning tool to show you the faults in those systems more so than they are to promote them. I remember in high school having to read a couple of them, and it's like, yeah, these all, even on paper, they don't work. Like you just, if you know anything about how human nature is and the need to not be in a state of arrested development, you really see that, yeah, like books don't do harm. And if you think that there's one that's contentious, then you bring it up to discourse because it's better to discuss it than it is to just try and say it doesn't exist or shouldn't exist.
Yeah, it's so counterproductive. Like the whole thing about rewriting history to me is counterproductive to moving forward. Like I said, you forget the mistakes of the past, you're doomed to repeat them, and so on and so forth. And you see it's like the human race is we're recidivist by nature. We always gravitate back to comfortable behaviors. And it's like if you don't have that history there to clearly see what happened and how you got there, you just go right back to it. And there's no room for growth or improvement at that point. And I think that really, it's really showing right now. And it's telling of the way our society is, I should say.
Well, I would say this, that the last 200 to 300 years where we've been able to record, share, and document things has been the most prosperous of our species ever. And to try and dismantle that and destroy it would just take us into another type of dark ages, so to speak. Yeah. And think of how long it has taken our species to come out of the tragedy of when Rome fell and everything from the metallurgy times and sciences. Like we've found through excavation that, we, as a species, we were very, very good at math and we were very good at engineering, but we just didn't have as much imagination for application of those things because we didn't have as many hardships to put that into place. And to think that because there's a big difference between revisionist history and then discovering things that were lost to time. Because that's the other part too, is like some of them are trying to reinvent some of their perspectives of history by saying, oh, this is a fact that was lost in this journal, but then when you try to look at the journal independently, you can't find it, so now you're looking at conjecture. And so because sometimes there are things where it's like, oh yeah, there's been books that have been like locked away in like a safety deposit box or something that are like 60 or 70 years old, like private journals and whatnot, and then they're uncovered. It's like, oh, this actually fills in a gap to something we didn't know about. And then you do the research, you go to verify, you find other sources, other things that fit in line with that to figure out the legitimacy of this new discovery. But in some of the cases, especially on the revisionist side of things, there's none of that. It's literally like speculation, conjecture, and opinion, and that's very bad. And it doesn't. And on top of that too, you cannot hold the past to today's standards, because I'm pretty sure 3 generations from now, whatever the standards are then, are going to look far superior or far inferior to what we are today, and it's going to be just as contentious. So yeah, like we stand on the shoulders of the mistakes of our past, and I hope not to repeat them.
Absolutely. That's, we need to, and we need to be diligent about that too. And we're kind of slipping by the wayside a little bit, but let me well, hey Salvador, hail to you, sir. Hail to you. Thank you, man. I haven't seen that name. That's a name I have not seen in a long time, and I miss Sal's a fixture on the channel, but he has been unable to stream in a while. He runs 2 Cents Toys. If you're to toy reviews, if you want no nonsense toy reviews that are still funny as hell, 2 Cents Toys is where you go to get those, man, from my man Salvador. He's doing the damn thing over there. And let's get him up to 2,000 subs. He's what Tony was at 1,300 right now, something like that.
I think he was around 1350.
1350.
The
okay.
other day,
I want to see.
I just hit 90. I'm excited.
Oh, did you? 90. Good job.
Wow,
you're getting there, man. Moving up like George and Wheezy.
Yeah.
Shit. So we can kind of. What, to a deluxe apartment, and I missed that show. I haven't watched that in so long.
Jefferson's was a great show.
I did. I used to watch that even in like reruns, like a couple years ago. I don't have time to sit down and watch like these classic shows like I used to. Oh, Sal's 1348. Okay,
yeah.
So let's see. I want to see you hit 1,400 here really quick, and then he'll just bump up to 2,000. That's the way it should go for Sal. He's consistent, man. He's like Cal Ripken with putting out videos. Like he's just like, seriously, like he's like every day, like Iron Man. Like he's always got content out there. And like I said, they're great, no nonsense reviews too, and they're funny. So Sal's my man. You are, dude. You're a great guy, man. We love you on the channel. When we miss you, dude. We miss you. We do. We miss you being on the panel. But so I had something I was gonna say, and then it completely slipped my mind. But that's because the gears are just which is probably good, because the next stream I'm on tonight. We're watching. Oh God, what's the movie? Hang on, I have to look this up. I especially want to run this by you guys. I want to see if anybody's seen this schlock that we're watching. Let's see, what is it here? It is The Forbidden World from 1982. I hear crickets again. Yeah, so this
Hold on, I gotta look that up really quick, because it does sound familiar.
It's an old science fiction. Jayne, are you familiar with that one?
I am not.
No, yeah, I do. On a friend of mine's channel, we watch these bad, like just terrible movies on Friday nights. We haven't done it in a while, so we're gonna. He's starting it back up again, and we get to. I'm gonna slide over there, and that's nice. I get to put it on autopilot, and I just bring the bottle of wine right in the office with me. Or a cooler of libations and set it right next to me, because I don't have to do anything other than make fun of a movie. I mean, like, we watched one of the worst movies I've ever seen on there, and that's Velocipaster. I figured you would. Velocipaster. It's not as fun of a concept. It's better on paper.
Better than the movie.
It's way better on paper than it is actually seeing this movie. Yeah, don't. I know, Jayne, you're down there going Velocipaster. I'm writing this down. This sounds
Is it a dinosaur that's a preacher? What is happening?
That would have been more fun.
That would have been brilliant.
Yes, I would
You
have
think
loved.
an evangelist that's also a velociraptor.
Oh my
Mitt
god.
Romney.
That would have been that would have been much better than the guy getting mad and turning into a velociraptor. Like, I mean, how many of those little like priest gimmicks does he go through? I mean, he's like hulking out and like going velociraptor mode. I mean, that movie was just like, it was bad. We were the only one I've seen that really like, and this is just like schlock movies. I'm not counting Black Christmas 2019. I'm thinking about filing a Me Too case against that movie. It violated me. It did in ways that I can't. They're
That
unfathomable.
was like the 4th remake of Black Christmas, wasn't it?
Third, third because you had
I remember the second one very vividly.
the 2006 one with Katie Cassidy. That one, it tried. This one was just like Sophia Takal wrote it and directed it, and she's like, men are bad. Black goo is the villain in this movie. Damn the patriarchy. Carrie Elwes play a white villain. That was basically Black Christmas 2019. And it was like, when I reviewed it, I didn't even name the characters. I was like, this is what I call it. This is like main girl. This is like diverse, undeveloped character girl. This is, kind of like airhead girl. And this is like where you had the social justice girl. And it was just like, it had nothing to do with Black Christmas. It was Black Christmas in name only. that was it. It was terrible. I mean, and I'm not even kidding. Like, Black goo was the villain in this. That was the driving force behind the evil patriarchy fraternity, was the Black goo. That was the Blumhouse Black goo verse. That, and they had that in Fantasy Island, which is another movie. I was like, I didn't feel as violated after Fantasy Island. I was just like, how dare you do that to Ricardo Montalban? I like Michael Pena. I think he's funny, but he's not Ricardo Montalban funny. And you can't replace tattoo with some Asian kid who just has a tattoo that says fucking tattoo on it. It doesn't work that way.
But there's a tattoo.
They see, the concept of making Fantasy Island a nightmare place is brilliant, but it's the
execution.
Yeah, because there's a term in Hollywood called concept is king, and that basically just gets you in the room and it gets the money from the investors. But they always forget, like, the execution is what makes people want to see it. Like, it's like you do something as crazy as like Velocipastors. Like, oh, you know what? That's a good title. That sounds interesting. So what is it really about? Like, well, want the real movie or want the one that's actually going to sell something? Yeah. And the one that sells something to me is a religious raptor, an anthropomorphized human-speaking raptor that preaches God and threatens to eat you if you don't contribute to the collection plate or something. I don't know. Like,
Adam Carolla plays a game where they take movie titles and try to decide if it's one of those movies where they come up with the title first and then write the story around it. And Velocipastor is definitely one of those movies. They weren't sitting there with the script like, what should we call this?
Can you imagine the Velocipastor in Confession? What would you do? Just bite your hand off? Like, I mean, did you start with fingers? I mean, it's like
the Hail Marys would be very different. Yes, that's for sure.
Jeez. I mean, that is just like the Velocipastor performing a wedding. I mean, you could have them in all kinds of scenarios, like last rites. Like the Velocipastor performs an exorcism. I mean, these are all
about convocation or sorry, commencement. Crap.
Communion.
Thank you. Sorry, I was kicked out of the Catholic Church when I was 10 for asking too many questions.
Most people leave screaming. No, it's
like, why can't I tell my parents?
Well,
before that, I was kicked out of the Jewish synagogue.
I'm
asking questions.
I have like Hebrew background, but I was raised Catholic, which is like which is part of the reason why I'm so screwed up. Because it was like my grandfather converted to Catholicism after he was like 18, because his dad was like, they were Russian Jews, and when they came over here, they immigrated here, and my grandpa didn't want to be Jewish and wanted to be Catholic, so he
didn't feel bad enough. He was just like, I have to feel worse.
Yeah, it's like, oh great, so you went from like like
The
alpha
guilt
level.
in the new world is not sufficient. I need more.
Yeah, I'm like that was it. So like me, I'm just like I'm guilty all the time. I was like, why are you so neurotic? I'm like, you have no fucking idea. Okay, look, let me how long do you have? Because my therapist was like, no, fuck this. This one's on the house. All right. No, it is like it's like, yeah, I would like to see the Velocipastor, like Why not Velocirabbi? Is that are we
There you go. That
That
also
would be
work.
so funny.
That's his best friend. You know, the
Veloci
sequel.
Shaman? You could have like Veloci
Imam.
Imam, Veloci Monk. This is like a cinematic universe right here.
Religious dinosaurs, yeah.
I want to see like a.
We were there before, man, so we know what God really wants.
I want to. It's the giant spaghetti monster. All right, it's a giant spaghetti monster. I really want to see that thing that catches the thief, or what is it? The soul catcher in the sky. I don't know what is that thing called that the cruise people pray to. What is that?
Xenu?
Xenu, that's what it is. I couldn't remember the South Park episode because that's basically like where all my knowledge of Scientology comes from.
No, I got that
Park.
knowledge many years before South Park. It's frightening.
Did you get kicked
Like,
out of
wait,
there
what?
too?
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you have the trifecta? Did you get kicked out of that one too?
No, no, one of my friends was part of it and he was trying to convince me to join and I was like, no. It's like no, like and the only reason I was like kicked out of those things is because parts where I am and where I grew up in Canada were not as open-minded religion as normally I've seen in other parts of the world. Like it's like a form of religious conservatism that is like ridiculously like close to the chest and absolutist and doesn't even believe that there are other planets outside of the moon. Type of stuff is like this is weird. Where like when I started traveling outside of Canada or other places in Canada and in the United States and in Europe and so forth, you're like, yeah, no, we believe in science. Like Vatican funded science. Like like what the heck is this? I'm like, oh, we don't know. So so like I have great respect for actual religions itself. Haven't been sold on the institutionalization of it, but I love the stories and I like how a lot of people do good and are inspired by it. So it's like beautiful thing to revere. And when it's used to pervert and when it's perverted to be used for hate and stuff, that's when you're like you don't understand what you're doing.
That's it. I believe like I like the aspect of believing in something greater than yourself that you use as a guiding moral compass. I just don't like the organization and like you said, the institutionalization of it, because that breeds contempt and corruption to me.
It's also antithetical to the teachings of the book, which is like no human mortal is able to determine the intentions of the universe or able to control the actions of their fellow man. Like it's like basically it comes to a point like who appointed you Pope? Like really? Like
Yeah, we're getting deep into the theology here on Friday nights on Fandom.
Well, I mean, like we can circle it back to WandaVision with the concept of like, well, power can corrupt and so forth. So how do you have someone who from witches, which are a form of religion, battling each other and the prophecy, again, something that is also religious in nature, is just it didn't wrap up as tightly as it should have for given like the track record of Marvel as a company and also the goals that they have, which is to try and bridge into a brand new phase of Marvel films. So that all comes down to just not being able to take a minute, ask the right questions, and really plan out what you wanted to do as effectively as possible. I think they were more concerned on their deadline and meeting that than they were on telling the best story they could.
Yeah, I think that's it too. The end of it fell flat to me, and it's like you could have done so many other things to bridge this into Doctor Strange and Spider-Man 3, but you didn't. And it's like I understand playing things close to the vest, and you don't want to show all your cards and give everything away up front. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to seem like an entitled fan. I really don't. Because it's like, I want to be, there's part of me that still, I enjoy the surprise of it. But at the same time, it's like, I was expecting a little bit more. Let me take 1 minute to acknowledge the chat. Hail, Kami, Jeremy. I noticed your channel. This is our channel logo, comrade. It's ours. Commie Jeremy. I noticed our channel, comrade. I noticed our channel logo looks like Dharma Initiative logo from Lost. That's because it's based on Dharma Initiative. I am a huge. I don't want to do the accent anymore. I'm a huge Lost fan. As bad as that show's perceived, I enjoyed it for what it was. I got hooked into it in the mythology of the characters in the island in particular. So yeah, my whole channel design is based around Lost. My intro and outro are made by Nerdy Blurb TV, and yeah, it's all Lost based, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Love emoji. Jeremy's in the house too. Lucasfilm is just Lucasfilm is misunderstood. Solo broke even. I'm having a freaking convergence of Jeremy's in the chat. Are you guys gonna form like? Are you gonna? Someone broke even. Are you guys gonna form Jeremy-tron? It's usual Mike Television. Hey, the Fandom is. Hail to you, sir. Hail to you. Oh man, no. Let's see. Wait, we see. I just finished the show last one. I freaking loved it. I don't know why I haven't hated the final. See, yeah, I could talk. Me and Salvador did a 10-year finale anniversary video. It's about a half hour long. About Lost though, because we're both huge Lost fans. I released that back. It was last, I want to say May, the day of the finale. The 10th year anniversary was like May 24th or something like that, or 21st. Because no, May 24th is Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, that I did. It was around that time. But yeah, I adore Lost. Is anybody else here a Lost fan? Script, you probably hate it, but
I despised it since the pilot.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, there's no way they can stick the landing to this.
Well, yeah.
I mean, basically that show ended the way the passengers survived that plane crash, like just horribly. I just saw the writing on the wall. I made a bet with my friends for a few $100s each, and I won that bet because I told them exactly what's happening. They're all dead. It's all a form of purgatory. It's all about them crossing over because that's the easiest answer that you can get out of a J.J. Abrams property. And yeah, I paid my rent for the next 2 months based on that, so that was pretty good. But I will say this, like some of the story conventions that I've heard about and some of the twists and whatnot are top notch. I don't discredit those. I just felt that for something of a setup like that, you really need to have an actual solid direction and ending that you want to commit to that isn't the most obvious one. And we know this to be true after the fact. They had no idea how to end this show.
No, they didn't.
And that's like rule number one when you're learning how to write television. It's like, know how it ends. You have to know how it ends. More importantly than you know how it starts. Just you have to know exactly how it ends, because every single episode you write has to convey in some way to the audience that you know what you're doing and that you have an actual goal at the end. And like the Office, that went on 5 extra years longer than it had to.
Yes.
But its whole ending was basically to culminate on the cast finding out the show was aired and seeing how people loved it. That was basically it. And then it was just a nice recap. And it was very ambiguous framework for the ending, but they knew exactly how they were going to end it. And they knew that they wanted to make a lot of the people within the company of Dunder Mifflin leave to go on to better lives. So, like, I mean, as vague as a goal as that is, that's what they planned. And you could kind of see where that was heading, especially after the 3rd season, because the 1st season was bombed terribly. Like, the NBC was on the verge of canceling it because it was basically just a verbatim copy to the British office. And so they had to retool it. And by the end of the 2nd season, they figured out what they had to do. And that they got very lucky. And I would say if The Office premiered today and had never been seen before and with the same type of methodology, it would never have taken off.
Yeah, I see that was the thing. It was like, for me, after Steve Carell left, it kind of, it was like
he left prematurely too. Yeah,
he did, but he had movies. It was like he would have rather done the movies than the TV show, I think.
He also hated Michael Scott.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, and not like there's the point like, oh, I hate having the job or anything like that. He says like for the first 2 years he could not figure out how to perform the character because how could this human being exist? He just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And so, and I can understand why, because the human being he's a horrible human being.
He is
not
a terrible
the most
person.
evil, but he's like he's not the evil in a horrible sense.
No.
He's just horrible.
No self-awareness.
Little self-awareness, very selfish, like
Mhm.
wanting to be selfless as a result of that.
Yep.
Like he's a very peculiar character, and Steve got very lucky that the show took off to give him opportunities in film. But at the same time, this is the biggest mistake that a lot of comedic actors make, which is as soon as they start getting into film, they do everything that they can, hoping that'll stimulate a long-term film career, but it's really just a flash in the pan. I mean, Will Ferrell is probably one of the longest running like SNL to television actors that got into film, and now he's barely doing anything. The last comedies he have done have been performed poorly. So yeah, like he's just not that guy anymore. And Steve Carell was kind of following suit as well. Like he got a nice little boost from Bruce Almighty, and then they tried with Get Smart, which should have been great, but
Yeah.
it was a little bit too convoluted. And
He had
didn't
date
really-
night. He had date night with Tina Fey, wasn't it?
yeah,
Carell.
and that was also Carell, and that was Tina Fey during like her 30 Rock heydays, and for
Yep.
some reason she just didn't have the right goal with it. And then she co-produced another show, which she didn't show run, but she did co-produce it, called Great News, which is actually quite good. It was like 30 Rock in like a small town local news organization, and nobody watched it because it didn't air at a time where people could find it. And they got 2 seasons out of it, and it was actually really funny and had a really interesting and fun cast and a lot of cool characters and good conflict, and had a female lead that you actually really, really liked and had some great jokes and did great comedic timing. And yeah, it had Andrea Martin, who a woman who I've known and had the pleasure of learning under for a little bit. And yeah, it was I strongly suggest go seeking it out. I think you'll like it after like at least 3 episodes, and they're half-hour episodes, so like you'll get hooked pretty quick.
Okay.
Um,
One of those
but-
easily digestible shows.
Very, yeah. But like, again, some comedies are a rare thing these days, and comedic actors, and especially when Steve Carell tried to get out of comedy and go into drama, that's when, again, he started to vanish a little bit from the zeitgeist. So yeah, it's just oversaturation and stuff.
It happens with a lot of these actors. You see, they're in everything, and then all of a sudden it's like here one day, gone tomorrow.
That's the industry, even if it's successful or not, and that's why you'll see them pop up so frequently, is because they're getting as much money as they can, because they're not going to get that money 5 years from now if they end up not getting a movie that's going to result in the long-term sequels or career. Like Gerard Butler, he was a really big name for a while there, and now I think he's pretty affordable as an actor. He's still doing lots of stuff, but he's pretty affordable.
I loved Law Abiding Citizen with him and Jamie
I love
Foxx.
that. Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah.
Damn, that movie was good. That just made me think of that. That's where I go before I go to 300. He was the main character in 300, wasn't he? Leonidas.
He was Leonidas. They shot that in Montreal. I got to visit the set a couple of times.
Okay.
His abs weren't real; they were painted on. But like he had a solid core, man. I mean, like it was funny. One of my friends was a makeup artist there, and that's how I got to visit.
Okay.
And she was just like, yeah, like he's got, she's saying like, George, but yeah, he's got abs, but like I got to make them look like abs. It's like, and she had to do that for almost all the actors.
That makes me feel better, because I used to actually have abs like that back like many years ago.
I had them
many
like that for 2 years in my early 20s.
Yeah, I was like 20. I was like 20. It was between 20. Well, it was about 27 and 30. I maintained that. Last time I got out, when I was wrestling, when I got all jacked up, I wasn't. They were there, but they weren't like that cut, because I was 245. So I wasn't that cut. I was just big.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I'm 6'3", so.
Well, I'm just shy of 6 feet, and before the pandemic, like I was doing so many writing gigs, I never exercised, so I ended up gaining up to like 260. But the thing was, it was all in the stomach, so I looked kind of like a cartoon character. It was really bad. And then when work stopped, I then started doing like heavy exercises and like mostly heavy lifting, because that's where you actually burn the most and you can slim down the fastest. And it took a good year for me to shed that off, and now I'm just a flat 200 and feel a lot better. But yeah, they don't tell you in health class that, like, you gotta do some minimal exercising.
Dude, yeah, YouTubing is like, because I went from like being a professional wrestler, I was bodybuilding, I trained 7 days a week, I was eating like 8,000 calories a day. You know, it was like gym tan. I was doing finance. I worked at a radio station, and then I was wrestling every weekend.
Yeah.
And still maintain, you know, and I have a wife and a kid. So it was like, I was all over the place, but yeah, it was, that is hard to maintain. And yeah, when I became a stay-at-home dad and then I started YouTubing, it's like, I have a weight room right in my garage. Like literally I have to walk like 30 feet and I am in my weight room, but it's just finding the time to do it after doing 5, 6, 7, 8 live streams a week, being a dad and cooking and cleaning and being Mr. Mom is like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And I need to get back into it. I've dropped some weight too. I'm down like 30 pounds. So I'm right around like 210 right now.
That's a good weight for your height. Actually, that's
yep.
really good.
Now I just want to start lifting and just kind of tighten things back up. And I'll be happy with myself.
See
And
if you can like treat your kid like a dumbbell and just like curl him.
Tony's seen him. He's a little brick, dude. He's like 75 pounds. He's 5, and he's not a little meatball either. I mean, he's a solid little, like, he's built like a damn linebacker. The kid, he told his gym teacher, they were in class and they were running, and Trey says he's a third, so we call him Trey. We've always called him Trey. And he said to his gym teacher, he says, "Mr. Dave," he goes, "I'm built for power, not speed." And Dave come to me, because I work at the school. Dave come to me, goes, "You gotta do what your boy said to me." I said, "What?" He goes, he said, "I'm built for power, not speed." I'm like, oh my God. Well, today, before him and my wife left, they're going on vacation for the weekend. He comes in and he say, "Mom had a juice." He goes, "Can I have a sip of your juice?" And he takes and he goes, "I'll drink all your milkshake." Like that. And I'm like, I was like, because he's heard me do that before, you know, the Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I was like, I've never been more proud. I'm like, you just made "Then There Will Be Blood" reference. I'm like, my man. I'm like 5 years old. I'm like, my man. I warned his kindergarten teacher. I said, "You're getting a tiny 40-year-old. I said, he may be 5, but I said the things that come out of his mouth are going to shock, appall, and impress you at the same time." Like the other day, we were in the truck and we were driving home, and he was listening to something, and he was on my phone, and he goes on YouTube, he presses the little thing, and he'll say what song he wants to hear, and he hit it, and it came back no results, and he goes, "I'm sorry, I misspoke," and he hits it again, and I was like, all right, I'm doing something right. He's already more articulate than me.
So you just didn't talk baby to him when he was an infant?
Never.
Yeah, that's the first mistake a lot of parents make. I had to smack up my best friends who are because I have 7 godchildren since I was 16.
Okay.
And so when you're in that community, you co-raise the kids. Yep. And my best friend, he was like, he was talking to the kid, like he was only like 3 weeks old, like baby talk, and I just had to smack him across the face, like, "You do not do that. That impedes their education."
Yep. Yeah, I started staying home with him when he was 2.5 until he went to kindergarten, and I talked to him like he's like one of my buddies. I mean, yeah. Sans the profanity sometimes, depending on what he does wrong, which he's a pretty good kid, so I'm lucky. No, I don't swear at my kid. I'm not my dad. No. Or hit him with wooden spoons like my mom did to me. I'll never put him through that.
Oh, man. My mom went through a lot of wooden spoons with me, man. Like,
yeah. But no, before I go into Mr. Mom classes, I got to get out of here because I have another stream starting at 9. I would like to thank my amazing, awesome panel, my kick-ass co-host, Tony. I'm going to toss it over to you first, and we'll give over the script and Jayne.
Yeah, so just to be brief, content slowed down a little on my channel, but that doesn't mean I have ETAP scene, and I've been working hard on some scripts, on some fictional content to get out there for you guys to make you laugh. I hope you like it. It's coming soon. I also want to say, I'm usually working pretty hard on Saturdays, and not to get ahead of myself or ahead of her or anything, but guys, tune into Jayne Theory on Saturday morning. She's got a fire live stream. I don't know if she's doing it tomorrow or not, but man, she goes on right as I go to work. I turn it on, and yeah, it's always a good time. So go over there, show her some love, and yeah, hopefully you do a show tomorrow, Jayne. I'll see you there.
Oh.
Thank you, Tony, man. As always, brother, I appreciate you and everything you do for the channel, man. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine, man.
Next up, Miss Jayne Theory.
Yes. Yes, thanks so much. I'm not doing the Saturday morning stream tomorrow. I'm gonna be taking a little bit of a break.
Wah,
But
wah.
I do normally have a Just Topics with Jane Saturday morning stream, a very chill stream, at 8 a.m. Central on Saturday mornings, where we discuss the hottest topics of the week. Later on that day, around 6 Central Standard Time PM, you can find me with Rogue Entertainment, where we dive into pop culture controversies. And if you enjoy Game of Thrones, you can catch me discussing Winds of Winter and A Song of Ice and Fire on Mondays at 6 Central on Sporking News Podcast. Friday nights, like tonight, later on tonight, you can find me gaming with friends on Or's Board channel. Well, I will probably be losing at Mario Kart, but it'll be fun. Uh, and you can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Thank you for joining us, Jane. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, Jane. Anytime. And last, but certainly not least, the script doctor.
So again, Etep, thank you so much for having me on tonight. It was great doing a stream on your channel. We've streamed a couple of times through the other Rogue Entertainment factions, so that's been awesome. Tony, it's been great meeting you. Jane, awesome as always. So I am the Script Doctor. You can find me on youtube.com/Script Doctor. I have not posted a video for a few months just because I've been working in the industry pretty nonstop since the new year. So I got to get that cheddar while I can. But as soon as that stuff wraps up, I will be finishing off my Star Trek Discovery and Mandalorian reviews. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing some live streams on other channels. So you can find me over at Midnight's Edge After Dark, and occasionally on Midnight's Edge in the morning when they ask for me to be there. I'll make sure you can find out on my Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. But on Sunday night, I'll be on Or's Board's channel doing Sunday Night Game Hangs. Or Sunday Night Hangs and Video Games, sorry. And then Monday, I'm part of a live stream show called Raiders of the Lost Art, which I believe will be on YetiCast's channel. So be sure to check us out there. We'll be discussing some cool old movies, comic books, TV shows, anything from art in the day, and also pop culture things happening at the moment. So yeah, be sure to keep an eye out for those.
Thank you, Script. I appreciate you coming on, brother. It's been very, very nice having you on, man.
Oh yeah, this has been a blast.
Thank you, man. And we'll have you back on. Jane, same to you. Always a pleasure streaming with you. You guys are both awesome panelists, and I appreciate what you bring to the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I am, you know who the hell I am, that ugly sumbitch that runs this channel, the ugliest man in the Fandom Menace, Etep. How you doing, guys? You can find me in about 10, 11 minutes over on Raiders of the Lost Flicks right here on YouTube. We'll be watching that Forbidden World movie or something. I don't know. I'm going to go grab a 6-pack and throw it here and another glass of wine and take me a quick break and come back to watch a movie. So you can join me over there. I'm going to trim this segment from the some segments from the WandaVision review and slap that together as a single release for tomorrow, as I usually do a single release WandaVision review. So I'll throw in a few extras that just my thoughts and opinions on the episode. And I'll release that tomorrow to you guys. The Walking Dead review from last week, episode 17 or 16, whatever it was, that's going to come out this week as a dual review with the second episode of the second half of the 10th season. Batwoman will be out as scheduled on Monday after my this will be the 26th episode overall. So after my 26th frontal lobotomy, I'll release another Batwoman review for you guys on Monday. I hate myself. I want you all to know how much I suffer for you. I do. So I'd like to thank all. We're up to 572 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. Let's see what else. You have another No Prodigal Son reviews next week. There'll be some different kind of videos coming out. I'm going to review Chick Fight finally. I'm going to suffer through it. My first Chick Fight video came out in December 2019. And I haven't reviewed the movie yet. I just bought it a couple weeks ago. It's sitting on my shelf. I will watch it and suffer through it. Yeah, I'm going to review that for you guys, I promise. Me and Tony still have the Last Starfighter Flight of the Navigator reviews coming out. And Final Death Star, Enter the Unfamiliar, and I will have a Superman and Lois episode 2 and 3 video next week. We were unable to get together to record this week, so we're going to do a 2-parter next week for you guys. So all that, plus you'll have Monday Night Going in Raw, episode number 142. I have to look at I have a whiteboard with my schedule. 142 on Monday night. Let's see. I don't have any guests scheduled as of now for that. Tuesday night, I'm on TR4 on author Stephen Walton's channel. Wednesday night, right here, going rogue. In a couple weeks, Lorena Creole will be coming on and joining Tony and I, as I was a guest on the lunch table today with her. And this past Wednesday on Mary Mayhem's channel, on Wednesday Night Mayhem. Had a great week. I'm Etepo Queen of the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of yous. And remember, if I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.